of my home, y'all. Reason why I had to record outside of my home is because I have been having so many attacks inside of my home. Now, your home is supposed to be your sanctuary, okay? And so, um, yeah, that is not the case right now. And so, I started noticing that when I can have peace being outside my dwelling and being out, and you can be tired, like I really want to go home. Then you get home, you can't sleep. You feeling bothered. You trying to focus. You can't focus on your homework. You can't focus on your schoolwork. You can't focus on things like that. You try to put in something common, put in the scriptures, replay them in your house. You start having attacks and fights like that. And so, y'all, I've been having them. Excuse me, but I really need to eat this chicken, okay? And so, yeah, I was having them. I'm like, okay, like, something's got to give because I'm going to do what I need to do. At first, I was having issues with my funds, y'all. If y'all see me, I am literally a workaholic, okay? I don't spend my money frivolously. I'm not a person that's gonna buy 12,000 clothes, even though I love clothes, y'all. I love shopping. I love dressing up. But if push comes to shove, and I have something that is of a higher standard, getting my education, getting the house planted for something, I'm really good at that. I've always been like that as a child. As a child, I would be the person. If it would be the kids who all get $1, and when I grew up, you could take that dollar and get 100 pieces of candy for $1 because the candy was a penny. Some of it was 2 cents, but a lot of that stuff was a penny. Some of it was 5 cents, but you could still make. I would be the person that would spend 25 cents on myself, 25 cents worth of candy. That'll be penny candy, right? So I'm gonna get the penny candy. Maybe no, I take that back. I probably get like 10, 10 cents worth of penny candy and get a couple of 5 cents or something that I like. If it was like 5 cents or 2 cents, I would get those kind of candies. But I would eat a little bit and save it for the rest. Everybody else they chowing down, they're doing everything they want to do, and I would just sit there, find other things to do. Oh, thank goodness they people came because they was out there in the cold. And I would go and do that, and then guess what would happen? They would be out. They would want some more. Couldn't get any more money unless they did more chores or something. Meanwhile, I still got the candy in the back. So if I didn't sell it, I would just keep it. And because they didn't have it, it wasn't really a temptation for me to even get it. I can tell myself because if you don't have it, you don't have funds to get what you want. You settle for what you can get around, right? And so they're eating regular food, they're doing all the other stuff, and I'm not. It's a waste. It's as if I don't even have it. And so as this keeps going, week after week, I'm building a collection. To the point where I can make my own candy store now. And so, and that kept me really afloat a lot of times. Um, and so I've been like that since a kid. I got my first job at 13. I also worked in the summertime at 13, dealing with working with my aunt who was a property manager who dealt with the housing, not the housing authority, but HUD, like the housing division of things like that. And so I learned a lot about HUD. I learned a lot about apartment complexes, Section 8, Section 42. All those things I learned really, really young. I was on it. I always had something. Not only that, I worked at a movie theater. I worked at Walmart. I worked at Meijer at the same time. Yeah, I worked at Meijer and Walmart at the same time. So I was going to have me a job. Okay? When I say have me a job, Baby, I was gonna have me a job. There are people who wouldn't take me to work, who will always come up with crazy stuff, but guess what? I found me a job. Okay. And so, yeah, coming around now, in my 30s, especially learning everything that's been going around me, I've been more vigilant, and I take pride in knowing different things and how to maneuver, how to stand on your feet. You might want to be at a certain place, but you know how to survive. Some people don't know how to survive. They only know what they think is thriving. They doing what they like to do. They've never had any real challenges. Excuse me. You know how tough you are based off of how you can overcome these challenges. Because life will throw them at you. Life will throw them at you. Okay. And so, and it is the back, huh? That was weird. And so, I knew that I'm always gonna have extra money in my pocket. I've always, been that person. I can do without, or I do extra to get what I want and to have some on the side. It takes nothing for me. I take pride in doing it. And so, sorry, y'all. These last couple of days, well, weeks have been really tiresome. Okay, and I've also learned that I've been looking at the patterns of my life and the things that happened in September for me. The things that happened in September for me. Okay? And so I remember last September, I had an issue. Yeah, I was working two jobs then. I was working two jobs, almost three at that time. What happened was somehow I ended up being sick. I was not able to go to work. It was like the craziest headache. I would feel drained, dragging to go to work, all kind of stuff, y'all. To the point where I ended up missing 2 days, which I had the time to take off. Somehow it was not going. Somehow it was not adding up. Somehow it was not hitting. And so I'm like, what the heck is going on? I ended up um losing my job there, y'all. And it was offer attendance, and they literally said you have the time to take off, but somehow it didn't process anything, and therefore it was gone. And how I had to do the appeals, it was so crazy. Now I ended up getting a slight amount of money back, but it was just so overwhelming. The the September before that, I ended up leaving a job because they were being so harsh to me. When I say so harsh, they were being so harsh and brutal to me to the point where I was just like, I cannot take this job. I mean, they were going out of their way to attack me. Okay? Um, and I was just like, let me separate. I don't have to take this. It was almost like that. Like they would try to find ways to write me up. They couldn't write me up. It was all kind of stuff. I don't know. The month of September is supposed to be the month of love, but I tell y'all, I've seen nothing but the total opposite. And so, and I would see it would happen every year. That same time will be around the same time I will have all this crazy stuff happen. Not only that, September is kind of a sad month. Not a sad month for me, but it's definitely a reflection time for me because it was the time that my grandmother passed in September. Okay? Not the 3rd of September, okay? It was the 3rd of September. Yeah, he was not a temptation. But anyhow, y'all, yeah, my grandmother died, passed during that time. My favorite aunt who passed from cancer, her birthday is during that month. My father who passed, his birthday was in that month. A lot of stuff. So I'd be looking at that, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I know that doesn't define me, and God can make a miracle out of anything. And so I asked God, God, make this month just like you did February 14th. Make that a month. Change it for your glory, for your good. Make it something special that you're giving me. If y'all don't know about um that story, it's about how I got my dog on the same day that I ended up shattering my elbow. I ended up shattering my elbow right before I was supposed to go back flying, and I thought that that career was going to be over for me because of that. Because they said that it was going to take a good minute to heal and all that, but God made some stuff different. So, um, yeah, I don't think I made a personal testimony about it, like a personal video about it, but I talked about it in a lot of other videos about it. But yeah, I just asked God to come in and make the month of September a more memorable month for me. And so, not only that, y'all, let me tell you, I was going across like every year I would go across people who would backstab me in September, would do crazy stuff. It'll be like everything is going good. I promise you. And I was looking at the patterns even today, even this week. My patterns, my healthy eating patterns, all of those things, they will be going great. Let me tell you, they go great. And then all of a sudden, y'all, as soon as I connect with somebody, whoever I'm connecting with in September, it ends up being a big, huge explosion. When I say a big, huge explosion, I mean a big, huge explosion, or it's just something catastrophic to where I'm like on the deep end. I was dating this guy, and all of a sudden, um, we always been on good terms. All of a sudden, it was just like he got upset that I had just got a promotion too at that job that I ended up losing, y'all. Just got a promotion at that job, right? And all of a sudden, it was just like he turned from friend to like Jekyll, what's that? Mr. Hyde to Jekyll and Hyde, like that. Happy to like, and I was like, what just got into him? And I'm like, okay, this dude acts a little weird now. Like, I remember some of the things that he would say that would be a little off putting. But, overall, he's always been nice to me. He's always complimented me, acting like, he really, really likes. So I didn't really put nothing from it. But I promise you, the last time we were together, I promise you, it felt like his energy field was off, like as if he sucked something out of me. I remember when he left, he had this side smirk, and I was like, "What is going on?" I didn't hear from him in months. Usually, I can hear from him every single day, y'all. When I say every single day faithfully. Even if I didn't call him, he would call me. Okay, and so I was like, oh, something is going on. Something is off. I kid you not. And I remember last year, the same time when I stopped talking to this person, when all that happened and we stopped talking, this is when my job, everything just started crumbling, 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 crumbling. It didn't, matter of fact, I didn't even get to talk back to him until things started going right back up. And this what made me start flickering and start thinking about, oh, no, what's the connections that I was having? The connections that I was having, okay? Oh, excuse me. And so, um, I'm saying this for a reason because it always happens like this when I started looking at the patterns of my life and started seeing how things were going and how people enter your life and how people want to exit and all that other stuff. Make no doubt that some people know that you are on the peak and the horizon of doing something great. You might not even know it, but I bet you that they know it. There are people that are around you every single day who act like they are your friend, and all they're doing is divining and connecting to you and seeing that you have a gift. Okay, they are connecting to you and trying to see what you have as a gift, and that way they can throw whatever they think they can throw at you to get you off course, to get you stuck, and to get you stagnant. Okay, they will do it. Okay, and the next thing you'll know, all of a sudden they got some happiness going on in their life. They was just struggling. Especially the thing that especially the thing that you were striving for, all of a sudden they got. Okay? Let me tell you the same thing about this person that I'm gonna tell y'all about. I was about to go and get another vehicle, okay? Funds were there. I worked so hard to get this stuff, get my credit, up and stay stable so I can get a nice rate, get some stuff because I already had a plan. Like, um, I live in Indiana. If y'all live in a motor city, especially Indiana, y'all know Indiana from Indiana Speedway, right? The raceway, okay? Um, but one thing that people know from Indiana that Indiana is a car state. There are a lot of cars. People would think about Michigan, about GM, all those things, but a lot of their parts are made from Indiana and small parts of Illinois. A lot of it Ohio, right? Because they're connected. They're all connected. Where I live at right now is very close to Detroit, close to Ohio. I used to live on Northwest, where it used to be Illinois, all those. But let me tell y'all, because of that, it is cheaper to get cars here. It is cheaper to repair, even if they're the most expensive cars. It's cheaper to do that because why? A lot of the parts are made here or very, very close. Not only that, because of that, there are a lot of people who are here, and the cost of living is cheaper than a lot of other places. They will have enough money to buy the exotic cars and the exotic things, and so that they are able to always flip and extract money and get a newer car, get the newest vehicle. So now they always constantly replacing. They're making money and they're getting the things that they want. They're getting the new things, okay? And so, I was getting, like I said, I was getting myself to get a new car, um, and I mean not. I was thinking about getting like a new year, but I was like, nah, if I get a new year, I'm still gonna go to the auction because I have a friend. I got a couple of friends that work at the auction. They have dealers license and stuff like that, and they be, trying to put me up on game, and get me more financially stable. A lot of them, people who are around who have wealth, are always trying to give out information. If you sit there and you listen to them, you around them long enough, they're gonna put you on because they like, look, you can't just sit here and not do nothing. That's what you got to understand about that. But anyhow, get to this story. And so I got all this money, I got everything saved. He's the only one that knows because, of course, he's in my house. We're dating. He's in my house. He's around. So he begins to talk. Now, mind you, I should have took notice of this, and this is why I don't do this ever again. I don't do this. I only stay around people who are moving towards the direction that I am going. When I catch myself trying to go off of emotions, I really halt. But this is why. This man did not have that. He already had two cars, but he was totaling his cars. He will find cars because you can find cars. It's Indiana. You can find cars very quick, especially the closer you are to like the outlets, Detroit, Kentucky, Ohio for sure. And I'm like I said, I'm close to both of them, so you can find boom, 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 boom. Find them so quick. You can make some stuff happen. You can make stuff move. And so, um, I see this, and then he's like, he's struggling. Oh, I can't do this. He's working two jobs. He's always been a worker, but it's always something that's coming after him, something chasing him, something. And I was just like, oh, like, okay, maybe I don't want to be around that. I don't want to be around none of that. And so, um, okay, is he turning? Yeah, I'll be watching people from behind me. I really need to go and park my car another place, but I didn't want to park until like the bright light or anything like that. So I might have to do that just to be safe, just to be safe, y'all. But I thought it's usually a safe spot. Um, you know what? I might have to just turn and go face the other way. That might be helpful, y'all. But anyhow, I'm still gonna get this out because it seems like it's so many distractions, or I try to get knocked off or something. Anyhow, we sitting there, we talking. This guy, he's having all these kind of troubles, and he always talking to me, to say stuff. And I learned that some people would try to feed off of you. They want you to boost them up so they can siphon your energy. So I started feeling that with him too. It's like, okay, you ask for help, you say this, I give you the resolution, and you don't apply it. I give you the resolution, you don't apply it. So what's going on? Like, I'm not dumb or anything. I know there can be some spiritual aspects of it happening, but what do you do in order to combat once you understand that it is a spiritual attack? What do you do to combat it? And I just thought that not only was he not willing to do stuff, he wasn't open to it. So I didn't worry about that. I was just like, okay. And I also thought about cutting off the whole relationship, the whole dynamic, because it was just, people, they don't vibe. You don't feel that vibration instantaneously, like they're going in the same direction, and you're like, okay, I gotta cut my losses. Um, and so, I was thinking about that, but we ended up talking. He went to my house. We're sitting there, and I remember when we were having one conversation, and he was talking about, you think that everything is going right with you, just wait until you start having real problems and things fall off. And I was like, what? Now, mind you, he already knew that I had already been divorced. He already knew most of the stuff that I went through. We had ended up working together at a point in time. So he knew a lot about, some of the struggles. And I always try to tell, like, okay, keep going. I had some struggles, but I'd start from the bottom, but I kept going. Um, and so I remember that. I remember that exchange. And it was just almost like when he said it, it was almost like things shifted, y'all. And when he left, y'all, I was just like, what is going on? I'm telling y'all, the next day, I got an email. Now I had already talked about, when I talked about that whole job that I had, and I was like, it just all of a sudden in September, this was all in September. The next day, after he left my house, y'all, it was like within a couple of hours from him leaving my house, they said that I was terminated. Even though I had talked to HR about it, even though I had talked to all these people about it, even though all this stuff had happened, okay? It took me forever to go in there. While that was happening, I didn't hear nothing from him. But when I saw him the next time and everybody else was telling me about what was going on with him, it was like unbelievable. And I'm like, why is he not talking to me? Like, what's going on? Did he try to find somebody else? It ain't gonna bother me if he's talking to some other lady or something like that, because I was already in the process of leaving the whole dynamic all together. So it didn't, how you can see something that's in it and you're like, okay, it's bittersweet, but you like, it has to go. Every relationship is not always so emotional. When you see the aspects of it, you see things that are not working, you wish somebody well and you keep going. Um, and so, um, as I was hearing from other people, I wasn't hearing it from him because now he's not even answering. And I'm like, okay, you didn't answer for me. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna keep moving. I'm hearing from everybody else. Oh, he got this new car. He's got this new everything that I was talking about. He had, y'all. He was, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, he was on the brink of losing his job. He ended up getting a promotion. I ended up losing mine, y'all. And so I'm like, no, this couldn't have been happening. This couldn't have been happening. Y'all, all kind of stuff. I was supposed to move last year. Y'all, tell me why I couldn't move. I cannot move. All of a sudden, I had the funds and everything. Funds started draining. And all kind of stuff started happening. Cars working. All kind of crazy stuff. I'm like, what the heck is this? What the heck is this? So I'm like, okay, I just got to get guarded, repent to God. Like, okay, stay away from this person. Like, if they can show you that they are not meant for you, keep going. Like, you'll be surprised how many people are on bull crap when they with you, or how many people are sizing you up to see what they can get out of you, and not just physically, spiritually too. That's the worst. Physically, they can get some. Spiritually, they trying to take dead. So I'm like, dang, that's kind of messed up. Whatever. I ain't worried about it, you know. And I kept going. But I'm telling y'all, not only that in September, I was having people betray me. That was one. I had another person that was supposed to be a friend, right? This person literally, the same way that she was up there trying to get me to rescue her, as far as other people talking bad about her, things like that. And you will see people that would say this stuff, but I didn't know that they were fed up. See, people who are, you have to check yourself when you're dealing with people who are going through certain things like this. Sometimes, yes, there are a lot of people who go through attacks and go through issues because people just don't like them. Okay? But there are a lot of people that are out here who do wicked stuff, and then they don't expect that things are going to come back on them. They try to play mind games on people. They'll start flip flopping. They'll triangulate. They'll put people in the octagon and the pentagon. They'll have them ping, 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 and they'll be doing it just to work their nerves, and they'll be all upset and all worked up and worked over what is going on in their life, not understanding this person is manipulative, and they're putting all their blames and everything and their insecurities out onto everybody else just to get what they want from somebody else. So then when the next person start realizing that they're playing mind games with them, they're going to try to pinpoint the new person against the other person, and it's going into a circle. And the bigger they are, they try to know your circle, try to know the people that are around you. The bigger it is, the bigger the circle is, the more they can play. And so people start realizing, and sometimes people will, most of the times, people will not catch on. They'll catch on later. It'll be a domino effect to where they'll start finding out a little bit later, and people don't catch on altogether until it gets big. And it's very rare that people will all come together like, wait a minute, this ain't adding up. Wait a minute, that ain't adding up. Because they're persuaded by that other person so much. They're persuaded by that other person so much that they're able to overlook the lies, the insecurities, all the little dumb stuff that they're telling everybody else that's not going on. And so I ran across a young lady who was like that. Well, she wasn't a young, she was a woman, maybe 30. So she's 30, what, 31 now? So she would do that. And I noticed that now, this was working for her in a minute. And once I started getting, I started getting hints in, like, I want to say July, August, because she would go from one situation to the next situation, and it would be the same thing. I would notice that she would go and talk about one person, then she would say this person is doing one thing, leave that person, go to the next person, say that the last person was doing the same thing, that person was doing the same thing that the last person was doing. It's like, no, you can't happen that many times. You have to take something that's going on with you. You're not taking accountability. And so, once I started finding that out, you try to get some distance, but you're still kind, you're still nice. But knowing in my head, people who do that, they usually are going to do that to you. Especially if you stand up to them. Now they're going to try to um, make you the villain, and they're not going to want, if you're a confrontational person that'll confront them right off the bat, that's the worst kind. That's the worst you want to be. Because I'm that person. But let me tell you, they're going to make you either feel like you're the villain, or they're going to cower, and they're going to have other people to step in and fight their battles. A lot of people talk about Jezebel, but the real culprit was that Ahab spirit. Why was it? Because Ahab never took accountability for the things that was given to him. He was given the kingdom. He was given a lordship, rulership. He was king. He didn't take leadership. He allowed his queen, somebody that he appointed through marriage. Okay? So meaning she could have been gone and he still would have been king. It was something that was left up to him, not left up to her. And this is the spirit that these people will have. And those are the words, because they're going to cry. They're going to try to put other people in the way. Remember Ahab, instead of him, when he wanted that vineyard, and that guy said, no, this is for my offspring. I left this I'm leaving this to my offspring. What did he do? He cried to his wife, knowing doggone well how wicked she was. And she said, leave it up to him. Leave it up to her. Which that should have never been in the first place. Okay? Had he took ownership or just let it be, took leadership and understood what it was and not been a big crybaby, it wouldn't have went that way. But anyhow, back to my story, okay? And so this is exactly what she did. She started putting people against me, just like she was putting people against other people when she was going through what she was going through, and everybody was looking like, oh, she was being betrayed, blah blah this, blah blah. They're taking advantage of her money and all this other stuff, and all that. And once I, like I said, I started acknowledging what was going on, and so you know what I did? Step back, okay. And this is when it got real, okay, because I remember the grandmother was trying to persuade me to get her to live with me. I don't know. All of a sudden, you already have a place. You already have money. Why don't you go and get your own place? They'll easily give you a place, especially out here. They will give you a place. She ended up getting her own place anyway. But I remember this September like it was none other, okay? She ended up staying with her relatives at this time. And the relative was still trying to get, oh, she has a 2 bedroom. Let her stay. She stays in the condo. Let her stay over there. Why would I do that? And she is not being responsible. Like, no, I respect you, but for one, I'm not letting. If it was like a homeless thing, that's something different. And even then, I would definitely have to take that up to God, because sometimes these people, and y'all know I worked at a homeless shelter for quite some time, for a couple of years. There are some of these people who will be so kind, they will be so loving, they will be so supportive. All they need is a little helping hand to get through. But I will tell you this, there are a lot of people who have to learn the hard way. They put themselves in that situation, that's all they know. And they replay it. And it's gonna keep going over and over and over and over and over because they don't want to change. They in the formulation of insanity, meaning they're doing the things over and over and over, the same things, and expecting a different result. And so, excuse me, like I said, I gave it some space, and I remember that this lady called me all different, everything but a child of God. Not to me in my face, because I probably would have been fighting her, especially after just thinking of all the stuff that I had put, on the line to help her with. Like, she would do like little stuff, so it's like taking us out or something. Let's go out. And I'm like, oh no, I'm kind of strapped on cash. I'm good. I need to say, oh no, blah blah this, blah blah. And she would do that. But then when I started looking at even at the things that I would do for her, it will always outweigh, because it's like, okay, helping moving, it's helping something big. It's always something big. Which, like I said, if you're my friend and you're somebody that needs help, and I'm able to help, it does. I don't mind. But I was just looking at the things and how she would always say that I'm not doing this unless somebody do. She was a tit for tat kind of person, and so um yeah, I remember that once I said no, and I was very kind with it. I still would help her. I would drive 20 minutes to go and take her to work, when other people wouldn't do it. I was still being considered the bad person, like as if I did something to her. Didn't ask for gas, didn't ask for anything. Helping moving it. I did not ask the things that I did. I'm not gonna put on here because it's not for any. I'm not putting it on there for anyone to say, "Oh, you did this, you did that." I'm just saying to give y'all a reference. I went above and beyond. Well, I won't even say above and beyond, because that's something that I normally do with people who I'm close to. I'm known as a giver. And so I have to be very careful with that, because there are a lot of takers that are in this world that see that you are a true, authentic giver and you're very altruistic, and then that part, it gets crazy. Okay, they will go out of their way. Even if you help them, they going to try to take from you on top of that. And that's what I started finding out too, that the girl was just taking stuff on top of that, I would have her over my house. She would put little cursed items in my bathroom, stuff like that. Things would just happen when she would just come around in my house, y'all. I remember she was supposed to be watching my dog when I went out to Indianapolis, which is about an hour, 45 minutes away from my house. Because I live in Fort Wayne, so it's about an hour, 45 minutes. With traffic on the highway, it's gonna be 2 hours, okay? Because it's gonna be packed. And I remember, like, all she had to do was just walk my dog, y'all. Did not walk my dog. I live in a real good area, a real safe area. I'm close to the police station, y'all. Like, we got a thing in our contract where they come out and if you call them, they got a certain amount of time to be at your place. Okay, so that's gonna let you know that you all right. Okay, and once they know that you from that building, they know. Okay, um, she did not. Not only did she not walk my dog, she allowed my dog to poop all in my house while she was just sitting there watching everything. Um, didn't even clean out the bathtub after she used it. Kind of crazy stuff, just crazy stuff. Okay, and so I was like, what the heck is going on? You know, and I, like I said, I had chaos every time she would enter my house. So I was like, is it a spirit on her or is this intentional? And it got to a point where I didn't even try to find out no more. I just knew it was harming my house. I got to get it out. Okay, and so that's what I did. Um, but yeah, once I told her no, I couldn't help her. I couldn't do this. I was all types of names according to other people. She would not talk to me, just all crazy stuff, and it kind of hurt a little bit. But I was just like, okay. At the end of the day, after a couple of days, I was just like, I got over that that feeling or that instance of feeling overwhelmed because I hurt somebody's feelings because I know how that feels. But I was just like, okay, feelings have to get hurt. Feelings have to get hurt if that's the case. I don't want to. I'm not gonna overstretch myself anymore, and so especially to someone who is not grateful of it and people who are feeling like they're doing harm. Let me tell y'all, I would have these dreams. I would have these dreams of that woman and her grandmother. And I couldn't understand y'all because the grandma was a church woman. Listen, them people who be at church be doing the most. But all kind of attacks was coming, y'all. That September, I had the worst September. Oh, it was ever. Do you hear me? I had the worst September ever. Um, And so, hold on, let me go so I won't be interrupting nobody. Because there's a lot of people that's trying to sleep, but that's why I was trying to go over here, so at least I wouldn't affect nobody who was sleeping or doing nothing. But let me turn this way. Because when I turn this way, no overnight, baby. Yeah, he was on one. Child, I had to move back. Hold on, y'all. Let me go get my little piece. Got the piece that passes all understanding and the piece of steel that passes through flesh. Okay? Hey, the word passes through flesh too. It goes through steel. But let me tell you, these bullets ain't gonna miss y'all. Y'all pray for me. But anyhow, let me turn this way so then I can be a little. Somebody coming this way, I can see them through my rear view mirror because the doggone street, the highway right here, and I can go this way. But you can tell he was up to no good. I'm like, why is he creeping over here? Like, what is he on? Like, baby, you can get some of this ice, baby. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. All types of names, all types of stuff. And I remember her saying that you thought that I was gonna be sad that you weren't talking to me. She said that to me one day. This was like weeks later, and she asked me to go and talk to her, and I'm like, okay, but you asked me to talk to you. I really don't care if you are upset or not. That wasn't the point. The thing was to get out of my hair, like not to get out of my hair, but just make the best of your life, make the best of my life. We can be separate. It's okay. It was just too much. But anyhow, like I said, I would have dreams. That September was one heck of a way. Because once I parted from her, it was like dream after dream after dream. I had this dream of her being it was like three dogs, y'all. It was three dogs. And it had, matter of fact, in the dream, it didn't even show her. But what God showed me when I got up, it was so diabolical. Okay? And I remember she had asked me to stay. The grandma was trying to ask me. The girl had asked me. I had told her no. All of a sudden, the grandma comes out and asks me as if I'm just gonna change my mind and say yes. Like my answer is still no. You can't stay at my house. If anything, let her stay at your house where she's at because she was at somebody else's house. She ended up going to the grandma's house because her grandma was like, "Oh no, they are using you for this. You need to go this way." They was trying to put her at my house at first, but no, 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 no. So wherever you came from, that's where you need to go. Okay. Um. And so yeah, she ended up staying at the grandma's house. The grandma was trying to get me to have her to stay at my house. No, I'm not going. Okay. What is that car doing? Y'all, it is a truck over here. Anywho, I'm finished. So I'm like, no, you can't stay. Let me tell y'all, the dreams that I had a dream. It was like three dogs that look like my dog. My dog is a gray. They call it a blue Shih Tzu, Imperial Shih Tzu. My dog is not more than like 4 or 5 pounds at the most. With fur, maybe about 6, 7. Okay. And so I'm in this backyard. And the crazy part about it, I was in my old backyard of where I used to live here. I used to be in a house, and it was a ranch style house, and it was a backyard. Now the house, I knew that was the backyard of that house, but the house that was shown in the dream was a different house. It looked like kind of a newer house, but I knew the backyard was the older backyard. The whole layout, the other, it was a garage that's attached to the house, and in the dream it was a garage attached to the house, but it's also in that place that I used to rent out. It was a garage behind it. Okay, it was a separate garage, like yeah, so you could have multiple cars. Once again, this is Indiana anyway. We have that's how they get some of their setups because it's a car city, it's a car place, you know. So where I used to live, they used to have a heated garage, a personal heated garage in the back. It was a heated garage in the front that they made it heated, from the inside because it was connected to the house. Then there was another one that was separate and it was heated. And so I remember that the dogs were playing in this dream. All of a sudden, there were two dogs. They were having fun. They were really nice. They were playing. But I knew that one didn't like the other. The third dog, all of a sudden, became ravenous, and I mean ravenous that it started biting the other dogs. It started biting the other dogs. The two was fighting the other dog. The third dog started biting the other dogs and just injured it. And so the one dog that I thought was mine, but I felt like something was going on. But this dog was so nice. All of a sudden, I found out that that dog was the dog before I even picked it up. Was the no? I ended up. I think was it. Did I end up picking it up? No, they ended up fighting the nice dog that I thought was the nicest dog. The other dog was kind of mute, but they was going and having at it or whatever. And all of a sudden, the nice dog became mean like the other one and started trying to fight the other dog. Okay, so um, the big dog ended up. I mean, not the big dog. The ravenous dog ended up taking over. No, it ended up getting rid of the ravenous dog ended up taking out the I got it written down too. Took out the middle dog that I thought was really really nice that I thought was mine. No, I thought it was, but it ended up taking out the one that was in the middle. The one that was in the middle, that's what happened. The one that was in the middle ended up taking out the ravenous dog. The ravenous dog, okay? So now the one that I thought that was mine, that was really nice and everything, started to go and try to attack the other dog that was just minding its own business. Okay, so now I found out that this in the dream, I'm looking at it because I wasn't able to tell who was who, but I knew that ravenous one from the looks of it, even though they all looked identical, I knew that ravenous one from jump was not my dog. Was not my dog. Somehow, like I said, the one that took out the ravenous dog, I'm looking at this dog, and this dog is trying to take out the dog that's innocent, and I knew that was my dog. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, it took out like it bit a bite of his stomach, of her stomach. I'm like, oh my god, and so I remember that I had to pick up the dog, and I was squeezing the dog like almost like a choking manner, like I was squeezing it like this, like and so the dog the dog finally let go of the other dog, and he becomes extinct, right? And so I pick up my dog. My dog is wounded with a intestinal wound. Somehow I started praying, and the dog's stomach began to heal, and the dog is happy. I'm happy, and I wake up out the dream. Okay, when I got up, I know that sounds long and long-winded, but this makes a difference, y'all. Of what happened in September because I couldn't put it together. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on, y'all. Tell me why September was like one of the worst months ever, all the way towards the end. Y'all, I kept having other dreams of other people who I was connected to. Not only with that, when I woke up, God told me that that dream was connected to the woman that I was connected to, her grandmother, and myself, and the things about my life. Like that, those dogs that looked like my dog, those things about people being around me, and how I'm being saved. So I had another one with that lady. I'm telling y'all, and it was back to back, like day after day after day after day. I love cheeses, y'all, and so like not just the regular cheese because I don't really care for them no more, but like the Parmesan kind of cheeses, all those kind of things. It's like an addictive taste, and so um, yeah, I'm just wondering why. Um, and so I'm having, and I'm still wondering why they still there because that place is closed. But anyhow, I'm having a dream. It was a dream about rats, y'all. When I say these rats was eating me out of a house and home, and I knew it had to be dealing with this woman. Um, I couldn't explain it, but these things was eating out my house home. I had to squeeze it. Once again, I had to squeeze it in order for it to be extinct and let it stop doing it. But this time, it wasn't like I had got my stuff. It wasn't like the skin got the food replenished in the house. None of that. But I remember that cheesy box being on there. I remember the rats. They were eating everything, man. And I had to skip the two of them. I had to scurry out. Like they were big. They were huge. If y'all ever seen, I lived in New York before, like New York, New York. If y'all didn't know, I was a flight attendant before, so I lived there a couple of years. They're rats. It's bigger than they are now because all this GMOs, all that extra stuff in there. But originally, these things were like about good 20 pounds. Never seen no stuff like that in my life. They look like raccoon, like big, huge raccoons. They were rats with big tails. That's what I saw in the dream. And I'm like, what? Now back then, last year, I didn't understand it was a spirit of poverty. I just knew it was some kind of some things dealing with witchcraft. Okay, the shifting of things, and I was just like, no, I'm not taking it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And I started praying about it. But they would go in and take it, like eating everything out of my house. And I said, oh no, I woke up, had that. But it was so impactful, like almost every day after that. So it was like from the 24th, which is my cousin's birthday. One of my cousin's birthday, because the next birthday is on the 25th. But I told you, September and November, them days, the months, everybody's birthday is like boom, 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 day after day. Some of them on the same day. Um, but anyhow, I kept having that with this person, and like I said, I was having it made it to where September I could not get a job. I ended up actually I did get a job, but that job was tumultuous. It was tumultuous. I was with a client that was just horrendous. Um, y'all, I stayed with them people for a long time. They thought I was gonna come back for the next year, for the next school year. Oh, you can count that out. You can count that out. But I ain't gonna get into that. But let me tell y'all, that September was one hell of a ride. I think that the only thing that saved me was God's grace and his direction to tell me to pray during those times because I didn't know what was going on. I just knew what he was telling me in the spirit about people and seeing these dreams. And that's what I pray against, and that's when stuff started slowly turning around for me. But September was one heck of a month. You hear me? And like I said, I was looking at that last year. I was looking at what happened last year, things like that. And it was like, oh, not only that, That was another thing I started noticing, that the things that because I used to talk and confide into this person for a good minute, so I started seeing how she was, and once again I noticed that the things that I was telling her about, they were going down for me and they were going up for her. This was also the person that I told y'all about, that was really had a definite hold on me, and this is why I had to work on myself and my identity, and a part of people pleasing that people don't talk about. A part of people pleasing that people do not talk about. When you don't like to offend people because people have offended you so much, sometimes you have to do that. You know, you're gonna have that some people, you don't want that spirit of offense, to come. I don't wanna, but sometimes you have to do that for your sanity. A lot of these people know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They try to get on your pressure points. They'll try to make you have a guilty conscience, try to guilt trip you into stuff you said no to. They heard you say no to. They know the reasons why you saying no, and they want you to go feel sorry for them, for their action, for something that they did, and they put themselves in a situation, but they want you to enact on them. All right, so yeah, I was having all kinds of kickback. You hear me? When I say all kinds of kickback, all kinds of kickback. Make no doubt about it. Now I ain't gotta use it no more. I wonder why. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, y'all, but it's been a lot of mucus in my body, and it's been flowing out. And it wasn't flowing out because I went to the sauna, none of that. Some of it was, but a lot of that was just me reading the word and letting the word just flow through. And it was stuff running out of my body, y'all. I mean, out of my body. It wasn't me going to no pastor, no spiritualist, no none of that. I just started reading the word more and started poof, poof. Now you can breathe. Now you know it's spiritual. But anyhow, y'all, I'm gonna try to drive and get to another place. I don't want to park in front of my building because I always get interrupted. But if I have to, I will. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I would have all these attacks with this woman. Especially when I tried to close the door with her. She always tried to come around with other people to connect with other people, and that's another form of witchcraft right there. When people try to connect, to you, okay? Now, where all of a sudden he turned? Where he going? Um, but yeah, y'all. Yeah, you're gonna have to try a little bit harder. I knew something was going on. I knew it. You couldn't even tell me that. Couldn't even tell me nothing different. Oh, now you gotta turn around. Y'all, I just got followed by the police, y'all. And now they're turning around like as if they're going the other way. Knowing doggone where they wasn't going the other way. Okay? Which I wouldn't have been afraid because I don't have anything to hide. But that's a whole other thing. Anywho, but something just told me just turn. 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 Okay? Um, you gotta understand we live in a spiritual world, in a spiritual realm, where there are people and entities that do other things that we don't see. So, um, you have to be mindful of it. Ask God, cover me as I go to my place, my residence, to go wherever I need to go. Lead and guide me. And also, it's election year, so y'all know what kind of time these people be on. But anyhow, back to what I was saying. Own it. Do you hear me? When I say every day, I was getting some kind of attack, some kind of spiritual something with this person. That's exactly So I just was like, okay, let me just take some time and some take some time to reflect and stay away from these people and keep mindful of what's going on around you, because you'll be going in circles. These people will have you going in circles, okay, that look like you're progressing and you're not. You're just going up and down and round and round. As soon as you go up, you go back down. If you don't take notice of what's going around you, you'll be stuck in it. You'll be like, why am I always going this way? Because you're not looking at your patterns, because you're not looking at what's going on. As soon as you get a rhythm, it's something or somebody that's going to try to interfere. That's how the enemy works. If you get prepared for it, you already know what's going down. You already know what's up. You already know what's going down, and so you can maneuver. You can maneuver around it, and so that's what I was doing this month. I was just saying, oh no, let me go see what else is going on. That person tried to enter in. I done had some good things with God. God has been really getting me closer to Him, and all of a sudden, let me tell y'all, things have been going really constant. I won't say well, but they're going constant, and that's all you need is consistency. Once the enemy sees this is when they start acting a fool. This is when he's gonna start sending people. This is when all kind of stuff is about to start rolling on off. You start seeing people who haven't called you in years, who didn't want to have nothing to do with you. Now all of a sudden they want to contact you. Now all of a sudden they want to have a piece of you. Now all of a sudden, you see what I'm saying? But when you was low, when they pushed you down at the bottom, you was feeling down. They ain't want to have nothing to do with you. You try to connect with them, they ain't going to have nothing to do with you. All of a sudden, when you start getting closer to God, you start finding your identity in Him, and you keep going, guess what happens? All of a sudden, these monkey butts want to come over here and try to connect with you. They want to come and try to be all up in your face, okay? And I'm saying this to just reiterate what I was talking about at the beginning. People know when God is about to bless you. You might not know, because you don't went through so much, and when you're going through the process, sometimes you don't see clearly. Sometimes you don't see clearly. But I promise you, there are a lot of people who know you have gifts on the inside of you. They know what you are capable of, even when you don't know. Okay? And these people would try to ride it out. They're trying to ride it out. Okay? So it's imperative for you to understand and see what is going on. It's imperative for you to even know what your God says about this in the Bible, because it says that too. That's what it's even talking about. Think about it, how weeding tears. People always think about that just because of the judgment. That book is not just talking about the judgment. When you apply that weeding the tears, you let that stuff grow so you can see. Once you see and they stay fully developed, now you're able to separate. Now you're able to move them on around. Okay? Now you're able to move on around. Okay? And I can guarantee you'll be straight. You'll be straight if you start doing that. Once God starts showing you, because like I said, wheat and tares, they look almost the same until they go up. The ones that have tares, they got black seeds, they bend over this way. You got wheat, you're gonna stand up straight. Wheat is a lighter. It's lighter. Okay? Alright? And so people will know. You just have to be watchful of it. When God tell you to release, release. I don't give a care if it's your own mama. I don't give a care if it's your relatives. I done had relatives who was up there with me and mine, and this and that. And the stuff that I was going through when I was asking for help and everything else, let me tell you, they couldn't do it for me. They had the resources, and they decided not to do it for me. Okay? They could have, but they decided, and that's their choice. That's their choice. Well, understand, you got a choice too. And if God didn't tell you to go do it, don't be trying to act like you a good Samaritan. Don't be feeling like you're a good Samaritan, because sometimes you get bottled up by doing that, because you're like, well, God tell you to do this anyway. That's not all biblical. It's not all biblical. God says judge. And when people are going through persecution, make this in September for me to remember because no, ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'm learning. I'm learning more about him. I'm learning more about him. You know, God is a just God. Sometimes you feel like you, and I think that's because of some of the things that I went through in my life about being alone. You know, y'all see my thing. I was thrown in the trash can as a kid. And so you will have that spirit of rejection. You will have that, and you'll be sometimes wanting to prove yourself and all that other stuff. You ain't got to do that. You're already somebody in Christ. You are already somebody in Christ, y'all. And these people know that. Some of these people know that when your mother and your father leave you, that God pick you, take you up, you'll be more loved than all them other people. I can attest to that, y'all. Because some of the stuff that I even got into, or the awards and and all them other things, I know I ain't do about myself, and I know ain't nobody was in my corner but God. You ain't never got to tell. You ain't never got to tell me. Not never. You see what I'm saying? Like, not never. I don't care what entity, what spirit, what person come in my life to try to say, oh, yeah, well, all I did is use a damn lie. Use a lie and a half. Okay? You a lie, the truth ain't in you. Because I know what God did for you. Yeah. And I couldn't make no mistake about what my God did. I couldn't make not one mistake about what God. Listen, the only mistake that I make about what God has done for me, forgetting some of the stuff that I don't even know about. But all the good stuff that ever happened to me, okay. But anyhow, whoa, y'all don't even understand. That's the real testimony. It's the real testimony. You know, but you'll start seeing these people, like I said, you'll start seeing them. They all doing all this stuff behind the scenes. And so, I started noticing that about the month, okay, of September. I started seeing the patterns of things that, and usually, even before that, years before this, all the stuff that I was going through, years before this, the month of September is usually one of my best months. I don't know why. March and September are usually the best months that I usually have during the year of most of my life, y'all. And so for it to go opposite, I knew, something is like, okay, things change, but I knew something was up, okay, y'all. I knew something was up. And once I started seeing that and getting a hold of that, it started changing me. It started changing how I was looking at things, changing my prayer life, changing about who and what I keep around me. You know, it changed me so much to help me to be more vigilant as to who and what I let inside of my home, who I let inside of my car. Y'all, listen, let me tell y'all this. I ended up letting this woman come back into my life, y'all. One thing I noticed, and my stuff started getting cleaner when she got away from me. She used to be really, really filthy. Like, not, yeah, I'm going to say really filthy. She was. Somehow it was just like, and I'm like, why? I don't understand it. Tell me why. The more people she hung out with, like me or somebody else, the filthier our cars got, the house, everything. But soon as this person left and got out of the arena, okay? When I say got out of the arena, she got out of our way, out of our view, out of our life, out of our field, our energy field, all of that. Things begin to get what? Okay? And so it was a lot of things that were no denying. You want to second guess it because you always want that mind to start playing on you. You know, but like I said, I started seeing things for what they are and not second guess it. You know, people who second guess a lot of the times they end up missing out on something. They start doing stuff wrong, or they start having more things happen to them, and you don't want that. What the heck? Y'all, I got an empty tank, and I just put in gas. Y'all see what I'm saying? Gotta fill up this tank and let this tank be for a long time. God, let me be able to do everything that I need. But anyhow, child, yeah, about what's going on. Be careful about who you connected with. You know, stay mindful. You know, learn the patterns because the enemy works in patterns. You know, God will tell you there's patterns to everything in this life because that's how God created it. You know, because we live in this world, this thing we call a universe, and there are rules and regulations to everything that we do. Okay? And so if you find the missing link out of the pattern, you can have a better life. If you find the missing link of what you're doing wrong, you can change it. You ask God, help me to change it. You know? He says, ask and it shall be given. You know, ask, seek not. You know, if you keep asking God and you really have a good heart about it, he sees that you're diligent, he will change that. He'll change your heart, he'll change your mind to do what you need to do. I asked God because I couldn't even let go. If you have this people pleasing spirit, say, God, I always want the best for other people, but help me to stand firm on your word. It's not about what I feel. It's not about what others feel. It is about your word. Your will and your way reigns and trumps over everything else. So, God, if I have to leave or I have to depart from people who look like me, sound like me, talk like me, doing things that I am familiar with, because usually it's dealing with familiarity, especially if it's something different. You know, help me to remove myself from it. If it's something that is something foreign, foreign from you, foreign from me and foreign from you, Jesus, please stop. That was crazy. That like, then I don't let me repel from it and go into your will and your way. Because sometimes we'll do it where we know things are familiar are coming against us, then we try to turn the whole opposite way, and the enemy will get you that way too. Okay? All right. And so you just have to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Understand it. Jesus. Y'all, I just saw a flicker in somebody else's face, y'all, through the doggone screen. That's another form of witchcraft. That's when you know the enemy is trying to go against you. And you just say this prayer, God, whatever is trying to attack me, whatever is trying to project onto me to do anything, let it fall right back on him. God, you said you will fight against those who fight against thee, and you will bless those who bless thee. God, I ask that you keep your word today. God, because we know that you keep your word because you never fail. Okay? This is what y'all going to have to do. This is what y'all going to have to do. For all those people who are not spiritual and like, oh, this is not a spiritual based channel. I used to say that, but now I know that, you know, God is a spirit, he lives in me. I do nothing without him. I'm okay with people leaving that are not inclined to the voice of God. I'm okay with that. You know, because I'm not gonna deny him for anyone or anything. It's a no go. 5 cents off of. So yeah, y'all, this is what be going on. This is what be happening. What's happening? What's up? Hey, what's happening? What's up? Okay. So, but yeah, that's what happens. Just take account of what's going on. What's going on in your circle? What's going on in the place that is around you? Okay, so then you can change those habits, and you can promise you that this will happen. It can happen. It's happening to a lot of people. They changed the trajectory of their lives because they decided that they wanted what they were doing before was no longer serving them, and they felt like, oh, I got to do this. I need to do something different, and they did different. And guess what? Their lives became different. Okay, so do that. When you start seeing people who are odd, who are weird, who are not on the same flow, not on the same energy, they're giving you weird stuff, let them go. Let them go. I don't care how hard it is. I just had to ask God, it was a relationship. God, let this person go for me. Let them not return. If they own some bull crap and they own some other stuff, let it go. You know, you feel all of a sudden sad and depressed and down for somebody. Wait a minute. That's not even my spirit. That's not even the spirit God gave me. You can recognize that. You already know somebody doing some mess. You already know they on some bull crap. Okay? You already know they doing twisted stuff. Okay? And so when you see that pattern and you see something change the dynamic by changing the pattern. Okay? You can do it. On that note, I'm going to get off of here. Hopefully, something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, y'all. Bye.